money's worth out of them. And they're fun to drive.
Yeah.
I was like stopping and see Mark, and I'm always like, can I take that one for a ride? And he's like, no, you can't take it for a ride. Buy it, and you can ride it. So 734-994-6000. Give Mark a call.
I have a tractor story. I was in a snowstorm down south, huge snowstorm, blizzard down south. There was martial law. We're driving convoys. We're driving the big deuce-and-a-half Army trucks back and forth, picking up people. We get together at the end, and we're talking at the courthouse, and this one farmer's there, and he's saying, I was going to pull this Cadillac out of the ditch with my tractor. And the caddy owner says, you're not pulling my $8,000 Cadillac. This is 1972, folks. My $8,000 Cadillac out of the ditch with a tractor. And the guy says, yeah, what am I thinking? My $14,000 air-conditioned heated tractor? Are you kidding me? The one with the sound system?
Right.
No, I'm not pulling your caddy out. See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye. Take that for you. It's... We were talking a little border action, and let's take a call from Randy, who's been waiting patiently. Randy, welcome to the show.
Okay, you were talking about the industry that's moved down to Mexico and the issues if we were to close the border. And, boy, that certainly sounds like a book I read one time. The book was called Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. And it was exactly what you were just saying, that these industries that went down there kind of played a game because the industries got nationalized in Mexico, and the characters in the book, the railroad and the copper mining industry, they had played a game back on Mexico so that when they did the nationalization of the industries, they really didn't get anything but some junk equipment.
Right. Well, it's the choice you make. You can have local and maybe pay a little more, or you can go overseas or over to the next country. But there's a cost factor to that. You may get cheaper labor, but you're going to have higher security. You're going to have additional transportation, and in this case, you may end up with a problem with either tariffs or, in this case, maybe a border shutdown.
I got to tell you, when you go down, back in the day when you said Matamoros and you said Mexican shops supplying parts at the start of NAFTA, you were talking about machine shops with dirt floors. Now you're talking about huge auto factories that are satisfying North American needs, and they've got the latest and greatest. They're newer factories than you see in the United States because our factories have been renovated. Yeah. Those have been built from the ground up with the latest equipment. Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Yeah. What else you got there, Randy?
No, that was it. It just, as you were talking, it came right to my mind that, gee whiz, I've already read this story once.
Yeah, and if you have not read Atlas Shrugged, do yourself a favor. Go buy a copy, read it, and then give it to your children to read. Because this love of socialism that children seem to have nowadays, if you read it, they'll understand it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right, great call, Randy. I appreciate it.
All righty.
That reminds me of the
Good
poster.
Show.
Yeah, thank you. Let's take a call from Tom in Detroit. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, I keep thinking about it every time I hear about these caravans, and if I take them at their word that these are people, they're fleeing criminals, and things are that bad where they're willing to move all that distance, to get away from that that persecution from criminals, what have you. They don't have a Second Amendment. Why do they think this is happening to them? They have great weather down there. They have, tropical fruits. It should be paradise, except the people are being victimized, just like they're being victimized in Mexico. I've heard all kind of reports of mass graves and things like that of people in Mexico because of the drug money. The gangs just take over and run roughshod.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen so much here. And it won't as long as, bad things happen to good people, and nowadays everything bad that happens with a gun, they can show it on the news because we got computers, we got satellites, for the whole world. We got to have this in our living room during the news broadcast, and these families, it's a big deal if they lose somebody to them.
Yeah.
But it
But
doesn't
not to
show.
everybody else.
They don't show the people whose lives are saved by owning a gun.
Yeah, that's what we should start doing on the show. Do a little read out of the NRA magazine.
Yeah,
or,
the American
or dig up a
Rifleman.
couple of those
Yep.
every week, and we'll start doing that.
Okay.
I've thought about that
Yeah, I
before.
like that
we'll start
idea.
doing that. So, well, great point, because the Second Amendment is, for our country, the great equalizer, right? Criminals come into your town, criminals come into your neighborhood. If you can defend yourself, you and your neighbors can defend yourself, and you're equally armed as the drug dealers and the gangs, then you can fight back.
When you read the NRA articles, 9 times out of 10, the bad guy might have a gun drawn on you, and when you draw on him, he runs.
Yeah.
He doesn't shoot, he runs. You know,
the wicked flee even when no one's chasing them, you know?
Yeah.
They don't want to meet Jesus, you know?
That's right. That's right.
They know it.
Yeah, great call, Tom. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Okay.
Have a good one.
Gary, before we go on, you said teaching your children. There's 7 things every kid needs to hear. 1 is, I love you. 2 is, I'm proud of you. 3 is, I'm sorry. 4, I forgive you. 5, I'm listening. 6, communism has failed every time it's tried. And 7, you've got what it takes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice. I say most of those to my kid all the time.
Yeah.
You
Tell him communism has failed every time it's been tried.
Oh, my son knows. He knows those. Because I tell him, I say, I want the report from school, because he goes to Plymouth Canton Schools. And I'm not particularly happy that they spend a little more time teaching about Islam than they do Christianity. It should be equal. If you're going to teach it at all, teach it equally. And I'm not happy.
In Canton, they should be teaching Hindi. In Canton, they should be teaching Hindi. They shouldn't even be teaching the Koran.
It's not politically advantageous for them to be doing that, right? But it is what it is. Let's take a quick call from Ken before we go on, because I want to get back to our buddy Adam Schiff here. But let's take a call from Ken and see what he's got. Ken, go ahead. You want to talk about Atlas Shrugged?
Well, you're recommending that people buy that, read it, and share it. And I say that a better book to buy and share is the Holy Bible.
I agree.
Look, there you go. You'll get no argument from me on that.
Well, because the one fact that we're dealing with in our society today, especially with the Democrats, is their willingness to completely throw out the window anything to do with God, which, of course, has to do with thou shalt not, morality. And it's important to stress one fact, and this is something that the former Soviet Union learned the hard way. A nation cannot a nation cannot survive without belief in a God, without morals. In fact, the first thing the Soviet Union did when they collapsed, when they were trying to rebuild, is they re-invited back into the country. My church was one of them. They re-invited back into the country all of those Christian churches that had been established before the Russian Revolution. And they did that because they saw, hey, we have a country, no morals, and they realized a country that doesn't have morals can't survive.
Yeah,
Yet, what are we doing in America? We're doing exactly what they did.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
And here's what bothers me, though. So the Democrats and the progressives have done everything they can to get rid of Christianity, and they downplay it, they sue, they do everything they can to remove it in the schools, and yet they're completely welcoming to Islam into the schools, into our society. Where is the equality there? Why are you trying to get rid of Christianity, and yet you want to replace it with Islam?
Like I said last week, I have no problem with Muslims in this country.
Just don't push it on me.
Exactly. Give us a fair shake, because in a debate between Christianity and Islam, Christianity has the better deal. The marketplace of free ideas.
What you just said, though, now you have to keep in mind that Islam is just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Nazism. So I have
agree.
to disagree with that idea that it's okay to have them in the country, because it's not okay. It's dangerous.
Yeah. I tweeted out this week that the Democrats and the progressives seem to be allying themselves with Islam. Why? Because it's a control mechanism. In Islam, they control you. It's a way of controlling everybody in the society, and that's what the Democrats want. They want complete and utter control over every aspect of your life, and that's what Islam is. It's not a religion.
I understand
it's a control mechanism.
And to Ken's
Well,
point,
you know what they're going to do? Here's what the Democrats think they're going to do. It's common sense. They look at it as we will use Islam as a weapon to destroy everybody else.
I agree.
And then once everybody else has been destroyed, they think then, okay, now we'll turn our guns on Islam and wipe them out. That's how the Democrats think.
okay, I'm trying to be practical here. Unless we get the kind of government you don't want to see, we're not going to be kicking all of the any Muslim out of this country or all of the Muslims out of this country. It's not going to happen. So if you're talking about having a free exchange of ideas and an open debate and a level playing field, Christianity will knock the socks off of Islam every time. It's only when Christianity is suppressed by the media and by the government then that Islam gets the upper hand, because there's no challenge to it. Now, Ken, you tell me, who's stronger, your God or Allah?
Well, here's the fact
You didn't answer me.
I deal with. Well,
You didn't answer me.
Here's the fact. Well, there's only one God, and that's my God. The Trinity is the only real God that exists. We know that.
Well, then you answered my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point
Okay.
I was trying to make, though, is this. What the Bible shows me very clearly, the war on earth, the devil wins.
Okay.
But Jesus, through his second coming, wins the final battle.
Yeah,
So-
we will. Well,
and
we're taking this and for another show. I don't want to get into the religious aspect. We got lots of them, but I understand where you're coming from, Ken. So great call as always. I appreciate it, man.
Promote morality. That's the key.
That's the key, exactly. All right, Ken. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I'm not the defeatist that says, I know how it ends. I know that Jesus wins in the end. That's it. I know there's troubles before that. There's a tribulation and Antichrist. But there's no time I'm stopping the fight until that point.
You're a pugilist, man.
Yes.
You're a pugilist.
Yes.
All right, so I wanted to get back to this. We got I don't know how our show got so twisted around.
I
today.
don't know.
I had an agenda set, and everybody, but that's all right. You guys can.
Order, Schiff, what do you want to do?
We're going to go back to Schiff because I wanted people to hear the total hypocrisy of Mr. Pencilneck Schiff.
Where have I heard that before?
I laughed so
You're
hard.
quoting a great man.
It's amazing how he can literally that's stuck now. It's all over Twitter and Facebook that Pencilneck, the memes are off the hook. It's just crazy.
He's got the crazy bulging eyes that all the Dems have, you know?
He's probably on adrenochrome or cocaine or something else. It's like that Beto O'Rourke. There's something going. That guy's tweaking, man. There's something wrong with him too. I'm telling you, there's something going on. There's some chemical. There's some drug involved here, and it's
I
making
believe
these
so.
people absolutely
He
crazy.
acts manic.
Yeah, you look in their faces. They all
Yeah.
have that bug-eyed look, don't they? All right. Well, anyways, I was proud of the Republicans this week on the Intel committee because 9 of them signed and stood up and said, "We think you should resign." And I thought that was pretty far out. Derek, you got track 1 ready? Let's listen to how the Republicans went after him this week in the Intel committee.
Little pencil neck
Wrong.
Adam Schiff.
That's the wrong one. That's the one.
That's worthwhile, though. Thank you.
I enjoy that one. Yeah, there's one farther down. It's got the congressman. I can't remember his name now. But that was perfect. Little pencil neck. Is that your track? Did you? Put that one in there?
No. I think Derek did that just for you.
Now, when you find it, Derek, let me know. But the Republicans went. It was farther down in the article, I think. They went after him, and all 9 of them signed off, and they said, "Hey,
Which is unprecedented. Unprecedented for have all the and it's not a political move. It wasn't like a party solidarity. Those games don't normally get played. These guys have no confidence in this idiot to have sensitive material. He shouldn't even be on that committee.
But I'd like to see him prosecuted for leaks because we know doggone well over the last 2 years, most of the leaks were coming from Adam Schiff.
Yeah, exactly.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's the
and
guy.
And now he's the head of that committee.
Yeah,
the Intelligence Committee. And this is the guy that was coming out insisting he had evidence. And still repeats that he has evidence long after Mueller said there is no evidence.
Right. So Derek's got it ready. Go ahead and play that, Derek.
both past and present, are incompatible with your duty as chairman of this committee, which alone in the House of Representatives has the obligation and authority to provide effective oversight of the U.S. intelligence community. As such, we have no faith in your ability to discharge your duties in a manner consistent with your constitutional responsibility and urge your immediate resignation as chairman of the committee. Mr. Chairman, this letter is signed by all 9 members of the Republican side of the House, of the committee, and I ask unanimous consent to be entered into the record of today's hearing.